It is the battle of the 8s. We've got the iPhone 8 Plus and the Note 8, two behemoths going head to head for your phone by $1. I want to do this versus with 5 categories and no cop out at the end. Whatever's best for you, we are going to declare a winner. Let's jump right in. So as I run through these categories, you'll notice one category is not going to be there, and that is performance. I could talk about the A11, the Snapdragon 835, and 6 gigs of RAM, but they are different operating systems optimized for different experiences. So it's not a fair comparison to go head to head on the performance of both, but both are incredibly fast, both can handle games, both can handle anything you throw at it. So performance for two different operating systems, it's not apples to apples, so to speak. So the 5 categories that we've chosen for this versus battle are design, screen, camera, battery, and intangibles. So the first category, let's start with design. And this one should be as no-brainer category as we've got. And I think even the most die-hard Apple fans would even give the design award to the Galaxy Note 8. This is the 4th generation of the same design that we initially saw with the iPhone 6 Plus. It's not ugly. It just hasn't modernized like we've seen on the Samsung side of things. We've got an Infinity display, almost edge to edge. The phone looks and feels incredibly premium. And if you're gonna buy a phone based solely on design, I'm going for the one without the gigantic bezels. Galaxy Note 8 easily takes this category. All right, so next let's jump into perhaps the most important category, the screen, since they're both pretty much all screen and what you're staring at. You might think, at least on paper, this is going to be a blowout in favor of the Samsung, but Apple has quietly, and I think under the radar, refined their screen technology, culminating in the screen on the iPhone 8 Plus. So a bit of a weird aspect ratio, I think, on the Note. It's 18.5 by 9. It works to make a thinner phone with a larger display. I kind of prefer the 16 by 9 on the iPhone. What's new here on the Apple front is a True Tone display. I wasn't that high on it in the review. The more I used it, I think the more I've started to appreciate what it can do. Both phones have decent viewability outdoors, and that's a big one for me. On the Note side, it's got an incredible brightness of 1200 nits. It's like 20% brighter than the Galaxy S8 Plus. But you gotta have outer brightness turned on if you wanna see it in direct sunlight. So at least bear that in mind. Despite how bright the screen gets, you need to turn that brightness all the way up to see it when you are outdoors. I love the way the screen looks on the Galaxy Note 8. It looks like a sticker to me. I'm looking at pictures, I'm looking at movies, watching movies, playing games. The screen is absolutely gorgeous. And I've in the past been very meh on Apple's 1080p screens on their Plus devices, but this one looks better. It looks almost higher resolution. Text looks crisper. You obviously can't see any pixelation, and Apple has definitely improved the display on the 8 Plus. I think the Plus size display is something Apple was really far behind, but it's much better here and much closer. When it comes to screen, 100 out of 100 times, I'm still picking the Galaxy Note 8. All right, so next let's jump into camera. Both of these flagships feature dual sensors on the back, and both take incredible pictures and take very similar approaches to what they do. Both offer portrait modes, which will sort of use technology to blur the background. Apple's got portrait lighting in beta that'll sort of simulate different lighting effects. They both have live photos that'll take sort of a bit of movies beforehand. They do a lot of the same things here, but one does it a bit better. The iPhone 8 Plus, I think, takes better shots in low light. I personally prefer the higher contrast shots that come out of the Note in direct sunlight, but that's gonna be up to you. The iPhone's camera looks a little more true to color. I like sort of the poppy processing that Samsung does, but it's a lot on the processing side. Portrait shots on the Note 8 look much more like normal portrait shots than they do on the 8 Plus. The 8 Plus can sometimes blur the wrong stuff. Portrait lighting, though, is damn cool, even though it's still in beta. It doesn't work all the time, but when it does work, it works really well, and presumably it will only get better as time progresses. Video looks incredible coming out of both of these. But if I had to pick one of these to take and use as my camera going out, I'm gonna pick the iPhone 8 Plus. I think it's just a better overall camera in every environment. If I wanna get those low light shots, it's gonna be great. If I wanna get those portrait shots of my kids, it's gonna look beautiful. I have the option to add portrait lighting in here. It's an awesome camera on both devices, and it was tight, but no cop out of a tie. If I have to pick one, I'm going with the camera on the iPhone 8 Plus. All right, so let's talk about battery. And this would have been a blowout win for Apple if it had been like 2016 or even 2015. But not the case anymore. Samsung's done an incredible job with software and battery management on the Galaxy Note 8. And you might think it's not fair. We talked about specs. The Note 8 is pushing way more pixels. It's got a brighter screen. It's got a bigger screen than the iPhone. But if you're gonna pick up one of these phones, you're gonna want it to last. And I wanna give you one gigantic caveat. If you use Snapchat, this is not even going to be close. Snapchat on Android is a horrible, notorious battery drain. So the difference for me with auto brightness turned on both devices throughout a full day's usage was about 7%. And it was 7% better on the iPhone. That is an incredible victory, I think, for Samsung, despite having a power way bigger screen, way brighter screen, and way more pixels. But if you want a phone that's going to last you longer throughout the day, you're gonna wanna go for the iPhone. Even with battery saving modes on both, I can still eke out a longer life on the iPhone than I can on the Samsung. And the fact this is close is an incredible testament to what Samsung has done maximizing battery life, because in past years, this would have been a complete blowout. When it comes to battery, I'm sticking with Apple. So if you are keeping track at home, we are tied 2-2 heading into the final category. Design went to the Note, screen stayed with the Note, camera went to the iPhone, battery stuck with Apple. Our last category here is intangibles. What makes the phone, what separates it from the pack, what makes it not a rectangle in your pocket, what it brings to the table in the entire package. And Apple has brought a lot to the table this gen. We now have wireless charging. Apple's ecosystem is huge for a lot of people. Things that live inside of it, like iMessage and FaceTime. Apple Pay is almost becoming ubiquitous for mobile payments. You've got water resistance with IP67. You're getting a nice display, you're getting a good camera, and you're getting quick charging capability now built into an Apple device. On the Samsung side, you've got wireless charging, you've got fast charging, you've got a little better water resistance with IP68, you've got a headphone jack on board, you've got expandable storage, you've got the S Pen, and you've got Samsung Pay. And for those reasons, being able to use a pen, being able to expand storage, being able to plug in any headphones you choose, I am giving this category to the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. So I mentioned expandable storage is a big reason to get the Galaxy Note 8. If you want to narrow that gap a little bit and you want to have expandable storage with the iPhone, the folks at Kingston have you covered with the Data Traveler Bolt Duo. This plugs right into your Lightning port. There's an app that you download, and it does one thing and one thing only. That is store your pictures. Now you can do it a couple different ways. You can take pictures and video directly to the Bolt Duo. You can back up certain folders. You can back up your whole library. Anything you want to take storage off of your phone. If you want to hold off on upgrading your phone, and maybe the only reason you were going to upgrade to an iPhone 8 Plus or an iPhone 10 is for more storage size, it's an awesome way to hold out. Available in either 32, 64, or 128. You can back up everything you need. It's really thin too, so it'll stay flush with the table, whether you're using it on an iPhone or an iPad. It's not going to give you a weird balance. You put it in your pocket, keep it in your backpack. It's an awesome way to back up whatever you want to suit your needs. I want to thank our friends at Kingston for making this video possible with their Data Traveler Bolt Duo. If you want to check it out, we'll link to it down below. So this is one of the most hotly contested verses we have ever done. And that was not the case in recent years. I was harping on things like Apple missing wireless charging, Apple missing quick charging. Those things are here now. The gap has narrowed quite a bit. Based on all 5 of these categories, I pick the Note 8. If one of these categories is what's important to you, if it's camera, if it's screen, if it's intangibles or battery life, you know where I stand on those, and perhaps that might sway your purchase decision. But if you want one based on the breadth of phones that are all fast, that are all going to work well, the Galaxy Note 8 still reigns supreme.